Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to One Hub Racing here for round number 7 of the championship here in P1. My name is, of course, Aaron Mike, going to be taking you through the action, covering tonight for Jess, of course, who is currently not here due to being on holiday. So hopefully Jess is having a fantastic time. And joining me inside the commentary box, we do have Jamie covering for Steve, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight as well. So you got an all new P1 lineup. Jamie, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Welcome everybody, and yeah, this should be a good race. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, Portugal's obviously a track with it's very much like a roller coaster track. So yeah, it should be a good race. And yeah, if it's anything like last week's P1 race, we obviously had the wet in Vegas, where it was a very exciting finish. Then yeah, we should be on for a good one.
Absolutely, and I apologise if the audio is a bit loud, and we're having a few issues with Jamie's mic at the moment, and it doesn't seem to want to stay at one level. So apologies for that, guys. But yeah, Portugal, absolutely incredible track. 4.6 kilometres in length, 2.8 miles, nearly 2.9 miles, 15 corners, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and of course. Last season's winner around here was ERT Samba, and obviously as a racing track, Portimao generally can be a little bit of a wild card, because that corner through turn 1 and 2 can catch a lot of people out early on.
Yeah, it can, yeah. Just like I say, and talking about catch people out, look at that weather for the qualifying session, torrential rain. And yeah, it's a track, obviously it's turn 1, it's such an absolute, because you're coming down that massive great hill into turn 1, and it's just so easy to run into each other. And yeah, it's a track where it's quite difficult on traction as well, because you've got so many traction zones on off camber corners. So yeah, it's a track which is so easy to make a mistake on there, as I did several times in my race. This later on this evening, which I'm glad wasn't streamed, because I had an absolute horror show of a race. But less said about that, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Portimao has never been a personal favourite of mine. I mean, as you mentioned and alluded to, the weather on track, it is absolutely torrential out there right now. It's almost like being at home in Wales, and it's a very familiar sight for me. And there's things that you don't necessarily have to see when you're going racing, but you do get to see it from time to time. I can't lie, mate. Portugal, definitely a track that's going to throw up a few spanners in the works, without a doubt. I think before we jump into any of the formalities, I think we should take a look at the current standings here in P1. As you guys can see, Timo currently leads the way after a fantastic double win, obviously last time out, getting the win in the sprint and the feature race at Las Vegas, and 119 points for Timo. Nicola Solo currently in P2 on 87 points, and C and Armed currently in third on 74 points. J. Cole currently in P4 with 68 points, and of course we got Forza Brandon in P5 on 65 points. 52 points for Conor Mason in 6th, Owen Wyatt in 7th on 41 points, 40 points for Mats in 8th, 36 points for Casper in 9th, and then of course Nick Racigan rounding out the top 10 in the standings on 31. So looking at the season so far, I mean, I can't lie, it's looking like Timo, I mean, since coming in, has just been a class above everyone else.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and he's by far the most consistent driver, and he's had the most wins, most podiums. He's just really been on another level. And that win in Vegas last week was incredible. He was so far back, and obviously he had the wet, and some guys obviously did the 2 pit stops under the safety car, and he didn't. And the right track was not to do the 2 pits under the safety car, because the guys on the old inters were gone by the end of the race. And yeah, and obviously, and then at the moment where last lap the DRS came on, and that was the difference between unarmed winning and And team are winning because he got the DRS down that massive long straight down drag strip and unarmed. He had nothing to fight with, and obviously got a penalty in the last corner, trying desperately to get the place back. So yeah, that was just show you how dominant it's been this season. And yeah, with Vegas, obviously a lot of guys did take their entry penalties last week, and this week we've only got the one driver taking an entry penalty, and that is Nicolo in the Haas. So it's meant to be the Haas, but obviously we've had to run the multiplayer cars because there's issues with the update, which has made the even cars uneven again. So hopefully there's a fix next week. So next week we're back to our normal cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we do apologise for what's called some of the issues, because obviously. With everyone being in the multiplayer car, it's going to be quite difficult to keep up with what cars they represent in terms of the constructors now. But looking outside the top 10 in the standings, you got Luki on 29 points and 11th, Larkin on 27 points in 12th. I believe Carl Mendelis has left altogether because it's DSQ next to his name, but he was 13th on 24, and then of course we had Fatality in 14th on 18, 17 points for Axlock in 15th, Bouvier in 16th on 16 points, so it's good little synergy right there for Bouvier. Konzo on 13 points in 17th, of course Delta Hunter in 18th on 11 points. 19th place is Waitsy on 7 points, and then of course Posh Evans, the last man to score any points in the championship so far. He is currently on 2 points, and honestly, I mean, I managed to catch a fair few races. Posh Evans always seems to have the pace, it just seems to fall apart from him at the wrong time.
Yeah, but Posh Evans, quick drive. Whenever I've watched it, it seems to be up there. I remember in Qatar first on season, he's up there, but obviously he won the many drives not race that ran out of fuel. Yeah, he just seems to have good pace, but he just cannot string a race together, and it's so annoying when you have that. You've got the good pace, you've got the pace to maybe fight for a top 6 maybe, and just everything seems to go wrong. And obviously 2 points, he's definitely worth a lot more than 2 points, but he's got to show that. He's got to prove that. He's got to prove. I think the second half of the season, he's got to stamp his authority and maybe just get a bit more luck, and maybe you can see him get them regular points finish. I'm sure he's capable of.
Yeah, because also on top of that, I mean, with CNR doing so well currently up in P3, I mean, taking a look at the constructors, I mean, it'd be a huge gain if CNR and Posh Evans do start the score system points, because as you can see, Alpha Tauri currently lead the way on 159 points, and they have over a 50-point gap to Haas F1 currently in second place on 103, so only 2 teams so far to break the 100-point barrier. Alpine currently in P3 on 95 points, 83 points for the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 team in 4th place. Williams Racing in 5th on 78 points, and then as mentioned, Alfa Romeo currently in 6th on 76 points. And yeah, if Posh Evans starts to get some races together, we could see Alfa Romeo begin to climb their way up the order quite substantially. Red Bull Racing currently in 7th on 60 points and 59 points from the McLaren F1 team. The Scuderia Ferraris currently down in 9th place on 36 points, and of course Aston Martin rounding out the back of the field on 28 points for their team. So very close in terms of the midfield battle. I mean, that battle between Alfa Romeo, Williams, Mercedes, and do you know what? I'm going to include both Alpine and Red Bull in 3rd and 7th in that, and of course McLaren in 8th. Very close between those group of constructors.
Yeah, it definitely is, and obviously McLaren now. I've got a new driver in Tony. Obviously, you may know him as Cliffy. I know he's a really good driver, so McLaren may get a boost by that. This is a rather interesting qualifying session. Look at this. There's a mixture of inters and wets. It seems like the quick guys on wets, but some guys on inters. This qualifying it seems like both tyres don't really work. So, but yeah, particularly that midfield battle, yeah, it's really tight. We always seem to get tight midfield battles in whatever, in real life F1 or in leagues, because you get a lot of these guys that are very similar match players, especially in a tier like this, top tier, where everyone's so close. You can one weekend you could be fighting for podium, next weekend you can be struggling to get in the points. So it all comes down to personal preference on track, luck, strategy, and yeah, having a team that work together. Obviously, now these multiplayer cars go, it's going to be weird though, because these guys may not be in the same garage. So you may come in the pits and you might see some other car in your pit garage and you might lose time. So that's another variable to be thrown into the race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no better time but to transfer over to the action out on track. And as you can see, the rain is thundering down. We've had 13 laps come through so far. Currently leading the way is Cian Armed on a 28.3 on the set of wet tyres. Owen Wyatt at the moment, I believe his best lap time was on the wet tyres as well. Yes, it was 28.6, but he's got a set of inters on in the pit. The fastest intermediate runner is, of course, J. Cole, who's around about 6 tenths off Cian Armed in terms of a lap time here.
Yeah, J. Cole set that lap early in the session. I think the track's getting wetter, if anything. So yeah, a lot of guys, is a mixture of out on track hunt. There's a mixture of inners and wet. So yeah, I think it is that station where both type of survival. As I see, Tony's on a much better lap on inners, but full wets, but he's invalid. So yeah, there's our championship leader Timo is yet to set a lap yet. I wonder if he's waiting for the prime moment to come out. Now in wet qualifying, so I'd want to get a lap on the water straight away because you don't know if the conditions will improve. So I don't know if Timo's made a mistake or it's just not coming out. But if I was him, I'd be out there now doing some laps.
It's not just that; it's also building up confidence as well. Because I mean, as you know from driving experience, in wet conditions, getting out there doing as many laps as possible is key in the wet, because you need to build up the confidence on the track, find out where the grip is, where you can push, where you can't push, where the limits are, because everything changes all the time, lap after lap, especially when it's like this crossover period between intermediates and wet tyres.
Yeah, speaking of that, Larkin's gone to second place on the 3-lap old inters at 28.5. So I wonder if the track is now coming back to the inter tyres. As speaking of Jake on 5th place, well, on his pre-race interview, he said he hates this track, doesn't want to drive it. So yeah, J. Cole maybe want to get damage limitation on, but yeah, he's in a good position for the championship. So J. Cole will be looking to secure another top 3. J. Cole's been a very consistent driver on hub racing, obviously a 2-time champion, and but I think the championship may be out of reach from this season, but he's definitely going to continue the top 3. As now we're seeing all these inters are definitely on top now. We're seeing a lot of guys now, but they can't get on pole yet. But I think give it towards the end of the session, I think we may see everyone come out on inter tyres, as a lot of guys are now out on inters.
Yeah, because Conor Mason jumps himself up into P2 onto the front row on the set of the inter, so definitely a sign that things are changing, and that was less than a 10th off of Cian Arm's time. So Cian Arm's out there again on another set of wet tyres, potentially may look at possibly coming back in and changing that for a set of intermediates very soon. We do have a driver currently in the pit lane. Of course, we was able to get him in for a press conference. Of course, that is Owen Wyatt, and obviously we put the question to him: some impressive results in the last few races for yourself. What's your overall aim for the season, considering you weren't about for the first few races? And Owen responded in the press conference saying he's open for consistent top 5s and podiums, and to do his best to try and chase down the top 3 positions in the championship. So high goals here for Owen Wyatt.
Yeah, because he's only done 2 rounds. Obviously, it's amazing he's in the top 10 already. That is quite incredible in TRV. So Owen definitely has hit obviously he's yet to win this season, but he's definitely hit a mark as Posh Evans goes into 3rd place on wets. So it's still new. Yeah, Owen, he'd be desperate for a win, I think, though, because if you get 2 podiums the first 2 races, you can feel like the win is definitely around the corner. But he's got to beat Timo, and Timo at the moment is looking a bit unflappable. But he's yet to get a time on the board, though. He's on these inters, so see what he can do. But yeah, Owen, I've been impressed by his re-entry into the league.
Yeah, of course, and I have hopped on board with the championship leader Timo, as he's on his outlap right now on a set of the intermediate tyres. Of course, just over 5 minutes to go in the session. It's going to be interesting to see how the conditions are going to change, because right now, I mean, Larkin's in the pits on a set of wets. Owen White's out there on the fresh set wets. You got Sian Armed out there on wets. Is it a case that it is just a little bit too wet for intermediates?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think the track does look very wet, and it's a lot of water offline. As Timo
Oh,
got that
Timo!
is a quick lap, first lap out the bat. And that is, he's gone a hole 7/10 quicker. That is incredible. What a lap that is there. And again, he's showing his command of his tier, just no lap at all, and then bang. 30 minutes in the session, he comes out and bang and does that lap. That is incredible. And I think the rest of the drivers' hearts all sank when they saw that lap time.
Yeah, I think if you're Owen, potentially Porsche Evans, and Sian Armed, and I believe Larkin set his lap on the Inters, yes, he did. If you're Sian Armed, Porsche Evans, and Owen White, you're looking at that lap and thinking, okay, that's a very good lap, but it is on a set of intermediates, and the intermediates look like they're coming into their own now as Forza Brendan goes into the front row with a 27.8.
Yeah, the thing is now, these guys out on tracks and wets, it's too late to come in and change tyres, really. I mean, Unarmed might be able to get away with it, but he's sort of committed to tyre on now. So, yeah, you got to stick with the decision you made. And, yeah, and I think it's definitely Inters now, because look, the Inters are... I could see it, but it's still in the pit lane. It's still heavy rain. So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation because nobody's quite sure, but I can't see anybody getting their mid-27 on 4 wet tyres. So yeah, I think you've got to go on the Inters and just brave it. I think that's the way to get good position here tonight.
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. I mean, I'm coming on board with Sian Armed. He is on a set of wet tyres, and he's coming to that first sector split now. So let's see what he can do. Normally in the Alfa Romeo, but of course, as previously mentioned, issues with the Alpha, the F1 cars not being equal performance there. Definitely throwing a big spanner in the works for everyone's strategy, because really, you need to keep an eye on who's in your pit box here.
Yeah, you do. Unarmed's actually up on his lap here. He's 2 tenths up in the first sector. Yeah, you need to, if you try to keep men, if you're in the qualifying, try to keep men up know who's around you, which is so difficult. I had no idea what a teammate was, and thankfully, I didn't get held up by them. Because obviously, if you get safety cars slightly down, yeah, I think the wets is. Oh, Mike's actually at 27.8 on wet. So again, there's not really much in it here, but he's sort of level his lap now with them 2 sectors. So I think he's not used battery, so I think maybe this is his push lap now because his battery's on 94%, so he wasn't really pushing that lap. This the final lap's always lapping the wet qualifying, so he's going to go for it now.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see which tyre is the correct tyre. Obviously, nearly 7 times down. We'll come back on board with Anand a little bit late in the session as we look to go on board with someone who's on the flying lap. Who's coming to the end of the flying lap? I think we've got Luki coming to the line now.
Yeah.
Luki... It's a 29.9, so 6 tenths off his previous lap time. He has enough time to go again though, which is ideal for him. As we've got Nick Racekin, half a second improvement, gets himself up into P9, into the top 10 goes Nick.
Yeah, good lap there by Nick. I think he'd be happy with a top 10 finish. Nick tends to struggle in the rain. I think he struggled a bit last week. He had a bit of a nightmare race. So yeah, obviously I don't know what the weather's going to be for the race. It might be a dry race, you never know. But yeah, we're going to see these lap time choppers. Unarmed, he's up again on his lap. Who's going to cross line now? It's hard to tell these multiplayer cars who's about to finish a lap here. As I believe Larkin is about to finish a lap. He is slightly up on his lap. He's on the full wets now, interesting. So he's gone to the full wets. So he's changed tyres to the full wets. There's all sorts of going on here. Nobody's quite indecisive on the tyre wear. And at least you can tell what car he drives because he's got the special Alpine livery. He's going to come up the hill now. Crossline now. This will be his last lap, and he doesn't improve. He barely improves. He's got not enough battery left, so his qualifying's done.
Yeah, unfortunately for Anand, they just losing a lot of time in the final sector. Forza Brendan on a cooldown lap. Timo appears to be going for it again. We'll see where his middle sector split is. So checker flag is about to fall here in qualifying. And now we'll see lap times as everyone crosses the line, completing their lap, and we'll see where the chips land for everyone as crossing the line now. We have Nick Race again, he comes through in P9. Will he stay there though? Time will tell. Currently on board with Timo.
Yeah, Colin's gone fourth. Timo, can he improve even further? He's up apparently according to this time. And Forza Brendan goes 1,000th of a second slower as well. Forza Brendan missed out on pole there, provisional pole by 1,000th of a second. Well, that is very tight indeed. Can anyone get in them front three drivers? Doesn't look like
J.
it.
Cole after P5.
Yeah. Good lap there by J. Cole. Majority of the guys are on intermediate tyres, so maybe that's the tyre to go at the end of the session as Casper.
Ooh, Tony did a 27.7, but unfortunately he was invalidated, so he had the pace to get himself up in the third, but unfortunately an invalidation for Tony sees him remain all the way down at the back as Axel up to the line. 2.5 time for Bowen, up to P9 he goes. Looks like both Casper and Cian Armed are currently on some laps.
Yeah, that's our qualifying done. Yeah, as Casper in 7th place comes into the pit lane. So yeah, Timo gets pole, but I'd say there's not much of difference there. The top 5 drivers are in 0.3 of a second, and see in the top 10 only Owen and Unarmed did their laps on the 4 wet tyres. Everybody else in that top 10 did the laps on inters.
Yeah, would have been interesting to see the pace of Owen and Cian Armed if they did make the switch over to the Inders at the end, because then we would have got a real representation of their pace versus the rest of the field. But that is how qualifying goes sometimes. You got to take a gamble on the tyres that you're on. But let's run you through the order here in qualifying. It is, of course, Timo, the championship leader, once again at the front. He is taking pole position here with a 27.6. 1,000th of a second ahead of Forza Brendan, who joins him alongside the front row. In third, we have Owen Wyatt with Colin Armisen in 4th, J. Cole in 5th, Porsche Evans 6th, Casper in 7th, Unarmed in 8th, Axlock in 9th, Larkin rounded out the top 10, Nick Racegun in 11th with Delta Honda in 12th, Waitsy in 13th, Carlzo in 14th, Luki in 15th, Tony all the way down in 16th, and of course Nicola Solo using his engine replacement here at this race, going to be starting from the back of the field, and it's not really a bad race to use your engine penalty at.
Yeah, but not if it's maybe not if it's a wet race like it's looking like it's going to be here. That'll make progressively feel a lot tougher, because obviously the visibility will be a lot worse, and also everyone's sort of on the same tyre, and also there's no DRS, so that may make his moves up the field a bit more difficult. It looks like, to me, looking at that pit lane, it looks like full wet conditions, because the pit lane's got standing water in it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely full wet conditions here for the race. We will transfer back over in just a moment. But quickly, before we jump into the action on track, I want to quickly go through and shout out our sponsors and partners. So, massive shout out to our sponsors at Next Level Racing for providing some fantastic prizes for the drivers throughout the season. And of course, Aztec, another fantastic sponsor, offering a set of sim racing boots which look very, very swanky indeed. Pure Sim Gear, obviously putting up a sponsor of a pair of sim racing gloves or socks. And then of course the mystery shirt box, another fantastic sponsor. So a lot of prizes on the line as we also look at our partners at Vespa Twin, and massive shout out to Vespa Twin, and also to ERT Elite Racing Team, and of course to SimGrid. As you would have seen earlier in the stream when we was going through the championship standings, that was being done through SimGrid. So massive shout out to our sponsors. And yeah, I mean, let's revert back to the action out on track. Obviously, we're on the formation lap right now. It is all wet, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, but got a bit different opinion in the drivers, because you got Brendan in 2nd place and Axelock in 9th. They're sat on intermediate tyres, so it may be a factor, a case of the track maybe drying up during the race. But yeah, look at that track. It is definitely for wets, and I think them two may struggle at the start. But obviously, even though it's a wet race, the two-stop rule still does apply. So I reckon if we get some safety cars, we'll probably see everybody in. I think if it's going to stay like these conditions all race, but we never know. It might dry up towards the race. We don't know. All we know is that it's definitely for wet start of the race. So visibility on that one, it's going to be that.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking of Forza Brendan, we was able to get a quick word with him about the a bit of a rivalry brewing between himself and Casper. Obviously, they came together last week in Vegas, and that's the question that we put to him. So to say, the incident that happened last week was unfortunate. Did you guys get a chance to discuss what happened and settle everything? And Forza Brendan said, "It's all behind us now. Just happy to get back into the swing of things at a normal racetrack, hopefully a better one for us." And of course, Casper responded as well, saying it was very unfortunate, but we got everything settled and discussed. I also received a good penalty about it, which I don't and can't complain about. So both drivers, saying it's all in the past, and Casper accepting the responsibility for the incident as well. So hopefully this race will go a little bit easier for them, but everyone now beginning to take their grid positions out on track. And would you like to take us through the 5 red lights?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, it was the drivers who's got Nicolo line up to the grid now, so we're getting in the way very shortly. Calzo's obviously missed his starting grid spot as we now can be prepared for 33 laps, support him out in the wet. 3, 4, 5. Bit of a pause, and Delta Hunter gets jump start, but we're underway, and Timo seems to get a decent start. Forza Brendan struggling already on the intermediate tires. He's going to get swamped in turn 1 here, but good start by Timo. Owns up a second, and got Colin Mason up the inside, and there's a bit of contact there, and Brendan's around, and there's all sorts of chaos behind, and there's all sorts of broken wings, but good start there by Timo. But yeah, them inters were definitely not the one for the race start.
Yeah, and I mean, we mentioned about his luck, and surprise, surprise, it is Porsche Evans who gets caught up in that incident with Forza Brendan there. As you see, the intermediates are really struggling here. Axlock being overtaken by Lukey, and under pressure from Calzo in behind, who's going to get a fantastic run on him and move himself up into P9. The Inders are not working at this point in the race, but Timo, good start from him off the line. Get himself a 7/10 gap to Owen in second place now. Conor Mason making a bold move down the inside in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, made it work though, up to 3rd place, and great start there by Lukey up to 7th place, and Calzo up 9 places, so 5 places, sorry. So great starts by them guys. Obviously, the 2 biggest losers are the 2 guys on the Inters, as well as Posh Evans, who unfortunately got picked up there, that damage, and will presumably have to pit on lap 1. So he's hoping for a safety car already.
Yeah, great start for Nicolo Solo at the moment, coming up in the P10 from the back of the field, moving up the order very nicely, and this is exactly what he needs to do, exactly what he wants from this race.
Yeah, it's just he kept up there. Sometimes when you're back of grid, sometimes it's better just not forget about turn 1, just don't take too much in turn 1 and just wait for all the carnage to happen. So yeah, he did that and he took up well there, and getting in the top 10 already, that's good for him, as Delta Hunter is in the pits, as well as Larkin and Tony, so they all presumably picked up damage. Posh Evans staying out, so obviously he's unharmed, but in terms of damage, but he lost so much time because he got collected there. As Owen Wyatt is keeping up with Timo on this first lap, and so yeah, this might be, see, Owen Wyatt's desperate for a race win, and them 2 guys have got a nice little gap to Colin ahead, and J. Cole is keeping Colin honest in 3rd place, and he's got Axelot's got a 5-second penalty, presumably for something that happened in the first corner.
Yeah, I believe he picked up a 5-second for a collision with Larkin, if I remember correctly, when that incident all happened, which is unfortunate for Axelot, but those are the breaks in the wet conditions, and sometimes it's better to be cautious and tiptoe your way through.
Yeah, definitely. Now, with these wet conditions, it's going to make overtaking a lot more difficult. But also, the battery management is going to take a key factor in terms of overtaking. Now, you've got to because around here the battery does deplete a lot, and you can't use it too much because it's quite difficult to regain. But I think in the wet conditions, because you brake a lot more, it might make that a lot easier. As Owen Wyatt is sort of stalking Timo now, and they've got a big gap to Colin down there. They've pulled 2.5-second gap to the battle for third place, and Nick and Luke are only very close together. As Brendan's in the pits, obviously Brendan decided, these inters aren't worth it, mate. I'm coming for the full wets.
Yeah, Forza Brendan took a gamble on the inters, and unfortunately the instant on lap 1
J. Cole's got a run at Colony, sorry to interrupt. J. Cole inside of Colony for third place. Does he get the move done? Yes, he does. Can Colin fight back? No, he can't. So that's J. Cole up into third place.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, Forza Brendan taking the gamble didn't work out. The early instant didn't help things either, but I think we can see that the Indus is just not the tyre to be on. But I tell you what though, I think Owen right now doing a fantastic job in P2. I mean, he is sticking with Timo here, and I'm wondering if this is confidence from qualifying, because Owen was actually running the wet tyre, so he's a bit more familiar with this compound.
I wonder if he maybe just sacrificed the pole for just getting a good feel for these full wet tyres. That might be a clever strategy there. If it's going to be a full wet race all the way through, then that might be a clever call. And yes, he's definitely within close range team. Well, these two guys are way ahead of everybody else. So in lap 3, and they're 3 seconds ahead of the battle for third place. It's quite incredible how quick them guys are going. As Timo sets fast lap, but Owen Wyatt, he can match him. He can match him. And this was a dry race. We're getting a bit excited for DRS. But obviously, there is no DRS in the full wet because it's too dangerous. But yeah, it was J. Cole. How can J. Cole pull away from J. Cole? It's a big moment now. I was on board with him. They had a big moment in turn 2. Managed to keep it together though. These guys behind are struggling. We've got a Red Bull of Casper and Unarmed battling for 5th place. Unarmed will get a good exit here. Can he send it down the hill into the hairpin? This is the best overtaking spot on the track in my opinion. Unarmed the inside. Casper gets the move done. Casper's not fighting outside. They're going to go side by side up the hill here. But I think Unarmed has the line. Will Casper give it up? He has to give it up. And Unarmed is through, but he goes a bit off track there. That might show the traction here now, though. But I think he's got the move done. Indeed, he does.
Yes, two former RDR teammates doing battle there, and obviously respect given to the pair of them, and giving each other the room. I tell you what, I mean, now it looks like Timo has kind of acclimatized to the conditions a little bit. So he's starting to pull away now from Owen. Yeah,
he's starting to maybe. Yeah, he's starting to get used to the grip levels. Obviously, you're never quite sure how wet the track is, and when I drive on the wet, it takes about 3 or 4 laps to get used to it. It's incredible all these guys on the pace straight away. As Owen White, it's still keeping him in relative company though. It's not. It's still.
That's why he was on the battery and he was closing in quite quick, and I thought he was potentially going to have a run, but unfortunately wasn't able to be. But I tell you what, as we've got Lukey and Nicole so side by side there, as they go side by side from turn 2 into turn 3. Nicole so down the inside into turn 3. Job done for Nicolo.
Calzo may get the opportunity now on Luke here because Luke is on the wrong line. Calzo is sort of off the track there. He's got to back out of it. He does indeed, but he's going to send him inside here. Going to go around the outside. Luke is defending well. Luke is very experienced driver, good racecraft, but he runs deep there. That will surely allow Calzo to move on to 9th place there. So bad couple corners there for Luke. He's lost 2 places in about 3 corners.
I think there was a small bit of contact there between Calzo and Lukey going into the braking zone, and yeah, I think Calzo potentially just going to let Lukey maybe retake that position momentarily and try and get back ahead. But yeah, a little bit of contact in the braking zone. Calzo trying to outbrake Lukey, just tapped the rear of him very lightly, and that was enough to send Lukey pretty deep into the hairpin, which is unfortunate because it did cost him a position. I tell you what, Casper now, since being overtaken by Anand, seems to be falling away, and J. Cole, since overtaking Colin, seems to be trying to pull away here.
Yeah, he's trying to get out of harm's way of these guys ahead, and he's just about a second ahead. J. Cole hasn't got the pace of the front 2, but it seems to be each left with has behind. J. Cole sort of a bit no man's land at the moment, but I think Nicolo, he's looking rapid. Once he gets some clear air, he's doing some good lap times. I think Nicolo will be on this battle in about. He's a bit behind at the moment because he's stuck in traffic. But I think Nicolo in 4 or 5 laps time will be on these guys. As Nick in 7th place is just nowhere. He's sort of in between two trains at the moment. But Colin is. He's sort of hanging on the back of J. Cole, but he's not really quick enough to really go for an overtake. I mean, that might be helping J. Cole fend off an attack from an arm because he might be getting a bit of slipstream down the straight from that Alpine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as it currently looks like now, Colin getting a little bit of shape coming out of turn, off the top of my head, trying to remember, turn 11. Getting a little bit out of shape, and that is going to put him under a bit of pressure now from Cien on. As J. Cole now has a little bit more breathing space, so J. Cole's going to be happy with a bit more room to work with. And Cien on now trying to close up as close as possible to really get the advantage of using his ERS and the slipstream gear.
He's a sitting duck here. Yeah, Colin's struggling for traction. I think if Unarm gets a decent slipstream, a bit of battery should be through here, but Colin gets an alright exit through there, but I think Unarmed, if he's on his battery here, a bit of slipstream, he fancies sending a turn one here, but Colin's got decent straight line speed though, so this may not be easy for Unarmed. He's too far back. I think he's back of it. I think Colin sacrificed a bit of downforce for straight line speed.
Colin was also using a bit of battery as well, so I think they were kind of matching each other on battery usage. So I mean, Unarmed was closing in a little bit, but not enough to really put Colin under pressure here as we climb up the hill through turn 4 and run down towards turn 5 up the hairpin. Colin is still remaining ahead of C and Armed for the time being. Nicolo Soto is closing out quite rapidly to Nick Racigan. Nick Racigan has lost out quite a considerable amount of time to these guys ahead.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Nick's sort of he's sort of in no man's land. He's in a good position, but yeah, he's just nowhere. As Axe is also pitted for full wets a few laps ago, so yeah, everyone's on the full wets now. That gamble did not pay off at all. But yeah, Nick and Nico, look how much Nicolo's getting on Nick. This would be an easy overtake. I don't think Nico even fight this too much. I don't think. I think Nick he's going to play a long game here. I think he knows Nicolo isn't really in his race. So yeah, I think Nick's got a nice gap to Calzo behind though, so he's in it. He's in some good solid points, but yeah, he's sort of nowhere really compared to everybody else. He's sort of.
As it looks like Anand closing up once again to Conor Mason going through the final corner. That's a much better run this time from C. Anand. A little bit of a snap on Colin's car, so potentially good luck in overtaking the turn 1 as he closes in. It's just not going to be close enough.
No, he didn't. No, as you said, they're both in the battery there, so they both match each other. Colin was wide there. He's really struggling. I think Unarmed may send him inside the end zone. He's too far back. I thought he's going to go for a cheeky dive bomb there, but no, thinks better of it.
Yeah, as Colin once again a little bit of a snap at the rear coming up to turn 4, and I'll tell you what, these conditions right now, it does appear to be kind of hurting Colin a little bit. He's struggling as Porsche Evans retires from the session in the pit lane.
There should be no safety car for that in the pit lane, but yeah, Colin is definitely struggling.
Nicolo's going around.
Oh, I missed that. Was him and Nick running very close together. I wonder if there was contact there. I saw them were fighting for position, but yeah, Nicolo's lost time there. That is unfortunate. Colin. I think if I was unarmed, I'd be getting really frustrated because he's definitely quicker than Colin, but he just cannot find a way through. We've got a yellow flag, but that's obviously for Porsche Evans' car, which has re-entered the track. So he pulled off, and there'll be no safety car for that. So as Unarmed looking, he's going to go side by side with Colin. He's going to try and get Colin offline, I think, for the final corner. And surely now this is the opportunity for him to pass. Surely he's going to get it done now.
We're going to find out here as Unarmed comes through the final corner on his ERS. He's got plenty of it to burn as we run down in towards turn number 1, and he's closing in. He's in the slipstream, he's going to move to the inside line. And he's going to go for it, and again, he's just a little bit too far back, but he's still got his wing in there, so Colin will leave the space, and Cien now down the inside into turn 3, should be job done, and Casper trying to follow him through in the background. Casper trying to get a nice run on Colin here, coming up turn 4. Colin with a little bit of a snap, and now Casper's going for it. He'll move to the inside for turn number 5 at the hairpin. He'll have the inside line, and this should be Casper not outbraking Colin. Colin actually outbraking, traveling all the way around the outside, but Casper on the inside. They're still wheel to wheel. They're still side by side as they come up the hill through turns 6, 7 and 8, still side by side as Casper's around the outside. He's still got his wing alongside, so Colin is still going to leave him the space as Casper goes marginally off track. And yeah, Casper now through and ahead of Colin Armason, and as Colin Armason can really look for a little switchback by here as he looks for a different line through turns 10 and 11, but no, Casper ahead now, and they've lost quite a lot of time to CNM because of this.
Yeah, that was good. That was good battling side by side. And I don't know if Casper was fully off track there, but he definitely was a little bit off track there. As yeah, Colin is definitely struggling. He's lost all confidence, I think. And that was a great opportunity drive there by Casper to send it me inside in that complex, because obviously Colin's on the wrong line trying to defend unarmed. He's lost 2 places. Colin's lost almost 3 seconds that lap to unarmed because of the battling. Like, that is incredible how much time he lost there because of all that fighting. But yeah, unarmed now. Can he close in the back of J. Cole? Can he? I think unarmed to be fancying a win at J. Cole pretty soon because he's catching him at a fast rate of knots.
Right, and it's going to be interesting to see if Unarmed's going to have the pace to kind of close up the Owen, because Timo has just been doing a fantastic job. He's pulled away, obviously, lap 10 of 33, and he has almost a 4-second lead over Owen now at the front. And J. Cole hasn't really been able to match Owen in terms of pace so far this race, but we're seeing CNM close up to him quite rapidly. So could CNM get through and close up on Owen Wyatt perhaps?
Yeah, possibly. As I'm looking forward to Axelocky's side by side with Larkin for 13th place, though side by side, and Larkin keeps the position. But yeah, I think Unarmed, he's definitely, if you get by J. Cole. Yeah, Axelocky's got through there. Yeah, I think Unarmed has the pace to get Owen, but out he's got the pace to get Timo. I think Timo can go quicker if he wants. I think Timo's in a position where he's just driving for himself, to be honest, and just incredible how quick he is in these wet conditions. We did see it last week in Vegas, and we're seeing it here. He just has the way for the wet track. As Unarmed, he's going to pits. So yeah.
And this is key because obviously it is mandatory 2 stops. So going for a bit of an undercut here on J. Cole definitely could pay out for CNM depending on the traffic he comes into. As we got Forza Brendan trying to come back into this race, and of course he's already made one of his pit stops. He's looking to get through on Waitsy here for P10, and he will jump ahead of CNM, who comes out just behind Waitsy. So not a good gap for CNM to come into.
No, he wanted. I think he felt like he could maybe pit and get ahead of them guys, but no, he just didn't quite match it, and now he's going to lose time because he's going to catch these guys in the middle sector, and in the middle sector, to overtake, you got to really take a risk. So yeah, he's caught these guys at one time. He's caught the guys in the corners where it's difficult to overtake. But I think with the tyre delta advantage, I think he may just sail inside one of these corners anyway, because that's what he has to do. Because he's in the battle with J. Cole, and J. Cole, he'd be open.
So on Nick Reeskin down the inside in towards turn number 11, and he just manages to get out of it. And that could have been horrendous for the pair of those drivers there.
Yeah, I just got on in that. I could see Nicolo sliding as Nick was in the corner. Yeah, that's very tight race laps. Nicolo was ahead of Nick, I believe, briefly, but then had a spin and he's behind and he wants to get by. I think Nicolo may do the opposite of what Nick does. If Nick pits, I think Nicolo may stay out. So we'll see as Owen White and J. Cole's in to cover off Unarmed. I think J. Cole may get out ahead of Unarmed. I think Unarmed lost a lot of time by Waitsy. They're both come in the pits. Yeah, they're both in the pits. So yeah, Timo's staying out, so Timo's just extending. He can extend all he likes with the lead he has. we'll see Unarmed. We'll see where Unarmed is, comes out in relation to Owen Wyatt. Unarmed has now cleared them two, so Unarmed it's going to be very tight, I believe, between Owen Wyatt and Unarmed. I think Unarmed's got the position. I think he's got it as he's going into turn one.
Just about.
Just about. Yeah, that was very tight. That was very tight. And J. Cole
Casper.
Yeah, Casper on warm tyres. So you've got to get the move done now, I think, on the warm tyres.
Oh, Tony's out this race.
Yeah, he's retired in the pit lane. It's Casper on the warm tyres. Sure, he got sitting inside here. He's got to send it. Oh, he's backed out of it. He was too far back, I think. Wasn't close enough. As Larkin's come out on intermediate tyres. Okay, so back on the inters are we now, guys?
Well, this will be key to see how the inters perform. Obviously, we've had 2 retirees so far in Bosch Evans and Tony. Delta Hunter is, he's essentially hoping for a safety car to bring him back into this race because of how far back he is. Of course, that drive-through penalty early on not really helping affairs. But it's going to be interesting to see Larkin's pace on the intermediates versus fresh, wet tyres up ahead.
Yeah, the track, it doesn't seem, it's still wet, but I think it's not as wet as it was in the first few laps. So I think we will eventually get to inters, but I'm not quite sure if it's yet as a Timo. I wonder if Timo's plan just to extend until he can pit for inters, maybe. I wonder if that's, but he's still got two stops. But I think with his pace, he can do 2 stops on the last 2 laps and probably still win.
Again, Nico, so trying to get through on Nick Race again, and these two do battle again. The side by side coming through the final corner, and now Nico Soto gets through. But will Nick come back at him here? Runs a little bit off track, and he's using his battery, and he is going to come back at him. So Nick is putting up a fight. He's not moving out the way. He wants to battle for absolutely everything he can get out of Nicola Soto, and even though Nicola Soto appears to have the pace on Nick Racekin is not giving this up without a fight.
Yeah, Nick obviously, I think he knew if he just gave a position up there, he could get him back on the straight. And that's clever race from Nick there, showing his racecraft. And they both catch up to Axellock, who's on the old tyre. So this is a bit of a... Nick will hope want to get by. As Nicolo's, he's darting across trying to get through, but he cannot get past at all. And Nicolo must be ruining that spin he had there, because that's lost him a heap load of time and probably any realistic chance of putting place as Timo is in the pits. Now, what tyre would he go for? Is Larkin on the Ninters, he's sort of doing similar times to weight. See, the gap's sort of staying similar, so we'll see what tyres he goes on for. He's going for the full wet, so obviously he feels like he's not quite timed for the Ninters just yet.
Yeah, and looking at the lap time between Larkin and Waitsy, the gap is increasing, so I think it's a smart call. As Nicolo Soto down the inside again on Nick, and this time going to be the job done for Nicolo Soto. These two have been battling absolutely furiously over the past couple of laps, and Nicolo Soto gets through once again, but he is trying to get through on Axellock as well. Axel side by side with him, and Nick needs to be careful now because he's got a car ahead of him, and now using a double slipstream toe here. This could be free wide at turn 1. Nick,
free wide. Nick needs to get done again. He's on the outside line, which is probably the line for turn 1, and he's got the move done. And Nicolo must be ranting and raving. He must be so frustrated. He cannot get this move done for love nor money. But he's got a good one here. He's going to get a good exit, and Nicolo's going to send it with his idea, no doubt. He's going to get this move done. And Nick, though, has got good straight line speed. He's not easy to overtake Nick, as Larkin has retired. I think that's in the pit lane again. So we're down to 14 drivers now.
Nicolo Soto unable to get through on Nick Racekin, and remember the gap that they had to Calzo. Before they came into the pit stops, the gap was around about close to 4 seconds. Calzo's on the back, as that's Nick Racekin in the wall.
Yeah, he's around. Has he got damage? I don't know, but yeah, he's disqualified, going the wrong way. So Nick is out the race. He got disqualified there. I think he's trying to recover onto track, and that is disqualified from the race. That is very unlucky for Nick there. And he was having a good race there. Nice battle with Nicolo, and that's bad luck for Nick there. And Nicolo.
Here comes J. Cole unarmed for P3.
J. Cole unarmed the battle in third place. J. Cole actually gets by unarmed. So unarmed did get ahead of J. Cole, but now J. Cole's back under these guys, and Casper is not too far behind these guys. So this could be a good battle for the final podium place. We've got a yellow flag, but I believe there will be no safety car for that incident.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the one thing about Portugal that I don't, that I'm not particularly a fan of, because you do go off there through a little bit of contact and everything. It can happen. You could lose traction and you could go off to a little bit of contact, and even though you don't feel like it, the game will automatically disqualify you for being out
Yeah.
there for some reason. And it is unfortunate for Nick, because he was having a fantastic battle with Nicola Soto. But look at the gap now between Colin R. Mason and Nicola Soto. 16 and a half seconds.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time there. He lost, I'd say, at least 10 seconds in that battle for sure. And these top six, they look, I don't want to curse here, but these top six look pretty much set unless you have some sort of intervention here. As I don't think Nicolo's got that much delta advantage over these guys. But so Nicolo maybe, I think he might be regretting now the track he uses engine penalty for. On paper, it's a good track to use engine penalty for, but not in a full wet race. So that has lost him a heap load of time, and that is going to make Timo's job in the championship. Timo's going to have a nice extend his lead even further at this rate. As Owen White is still keeping him relatively honest. I mean, the gap's come down a little bit since the pit stop, but I think Timo's just. I think he's just driving within himself. I think he can go quick if he wants to. As unarmed now, he's back on the back of J. Cole. And this is our main battle for the moment. This battle for third place between J. Cole, unarmed, and Casper.
Yeah. Also, taking a look at the recovery drive so far from Forza Brendan, he's back up to P9 and trying to close out to the back of Calzo. And honestly, this could be interesting to see Forza Brendan. If he gets through on Calzo, his pace versus Nicola Soto.
Oh, there's a bit of contact between Waitsy and Axelock for 12th place there. They both survived though. Waitsy had a massive drift in the turn one. He's struggling for traction. And obviously, he's recently switched to no ABS. And if you learn no ABS, I can't think of a worse situation with they do no ABS than in a full wet track. So he's still doing what he can. And gets a penalty. That's gonna cost you. Colin, wow, he had a big slide. I don't know if you saw the massive slide there. Managed to hang on to the back of it. Colin, he's definitely struggling for rear traction all race. Whenever I'm motoring, that car just seems horrifically bad on the rear end.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't on board with Colin to see that. I'm currently on board with this battle for the podium. J. Cole appears to be pulling away, but he has used a lot of battery to try and get away. And CNM has more to deploy.
Yeah. Casper's got the least of these guys. He's on 21%. So I think Casper's been used battery to try and get on the back of these guys. And now he's got to try and stick with them. As unarmed, I think he's maybe toying a bit with J. Cole. I think unarmed, he sort of knows the guys ahead a bit out of reach. I think unarmed wants to. We see in these tiers, these top tiers, drivers they tend to not go for the offset straight away like I would. They tend to play long games. So I wonder if that's what unarmed's plan is here. As Nicolo Sorrow is in a pretty low place. He is catching Conor Mason, but nowhere near enough to where he can probably fight him. But that penalty may keep him interested for if anything happens late on the race. As unarmed. I think unarmed is playing long game here. I don't think he's too desperate to get by. Obviously, still one more pit stop to go, so there's still plenty of time for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that penalty for Conor Mason, big blow for him, because I believe he will be jumped by Owen Wyatt in the championship, because obviously Owen Wyatt currently in P2 and Colin in P6 right now. Of course, there was an 11-point gap between the pair of them coming into tonight. And we could be seeing Colin drop to P7 if Nicola Soto closes up enough. And now what we are potentially going to be seeing is Forza Brendan about to get through on Calzo for P8.
Yeah, we see with that bad stretch got out of the race, but yeah, he's recovering well. Lost a lot of time because he had to pit early on, and he's recovering. But his fastest lap is right with there with like unarmed and Casper. So if he's had a full wet, he'd be in that point of battle. But he's going to have a good. I think he's a bit too far back now at the moment. I think, but he's gaining a lot. He's on the overtake button, and I think he may fancy a move into the hairpin if he can get a good run through here. But I say Cal's doing a decent, solid job so far. Obviously, it's his second race, and he's doing a solid job, and he's looking good for some good points here. But Brendan, I think, will fancy getting this move done pretty sharpish, as the gap to Nicolo is around 5 seconds. He may fancy winning Nicolo if he can get this move done pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's not only potential to catch up to Nicolo. I mean, there's potential to jump Colin as well, because that 3 second time penalty. We're seeing Nicolo Solo begin to close in on Colin now. Gap 14.5 seconds. Colin falling away from the podium battle, as is Cian Armed right now, because J. Cole has a 1.6 second lead now over Cian Armed.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think that's pretty much set. As Nicolo is just on board the lap times there. Nicolo's gaining around half second every lap as Brendan's now throwing cows up there. Got that move done nice and early, and now. Yeah, so we may see them 6th, 7th, 8th sort of converge onto each other as J. Cole's put a nice gap down now. Yeah, J. Cole, I think he feels this time to push. I think J. Cole may be fancying a pit stop in the next couple of laps, and he wants a nice gap so he's free from any intervention. Actually, J. Cole, if anything, he's closing the back of Owen. J. Cole's got some great pace in these last few laps, and Owen White's not safe in second place because J. Cole, I don't know if Owen White's made a bit of a mistake, but he's lost a lot of time there. The gap's now 7 seconds. I wonder if Owen White had a moment. He must have done, because he's lost a lot of time that last lap.
Well, we're gonna wait to see what happens. Obviously, 1.5 seconds between J. Cole and Owen White. If these two battle, that's going to bring Cian Armed and Casper right back into this. And we could end up with a 4-way fight for the final 2 spots on the podium. Timo's he's in a world of his own right now. I mean, 8.5 seconds up the road, an absolutely fantastic performance from him. And he looks on course to extend his lead in the championship even further.
Yeah, he's very much, he's very much like Max Verstappen this year. He's not got much threat, and he can just it's like a Sunday drive for him. He can enjoy it so much, and he doesn't no pressure of the undercut either, so he can just pit whenever he likes. As J. Cole, I wonder if J. Cole may fancy a move on Owen. He's gained a lot. I wonder if Owen White's tyres have gone. I wonder, maybe that's why. Maybe he's pushing a bit too hard in that first few laps, because he gained a lot on Timo on the first few laps. I wonder if his tyres now give him the ghost up. So we may see Owen in the pits very shortly as J. Cole. Look how much more confidence is in the braking than Owen. He's just got so much more. J. Cole's come alive all of a sudden.
I mean, we mentioned it earlier with the wet conditions, how it's always kind of about building the confidence around this. Colin picks up a second 3-second time penalty.
Ooh.
Now, Nicolo Solo and Forza Brendan will be eyeing up overtaking Colin here.
Yeah, because Nicolo's take that penalty away. He's 6.5 seconds behind Colin. So yeah, Colin may drop out of the top 6 here, and he may even finish in 8th place. You've got Lukey, Waitsy, and the final pit stops now underway. So the guys at the back are pitting. There's a J. Cole now. Owen Wyatt, I think, must be feeling the worst here. I think you can see J. Cole never to be get by. I think Owen may even pit this lap. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him in the pits.
Maybe, of course, a lot of puddles still on track, so I don't think it is Indes, but there is a racing line beginning to form on track, so we could be getting close to Indes, but it doesn't look like it's Indes yet.
No, I don't think. No, I don't. I think these softs will go off before these full wets go off before it gets Indes. But yeah, and if it's too late in the race, then it's not worth pitting. So I think it has to dry up next 3 or 4 laps to make the Indes viable. As J. Cole now is within 4 tenths of Owen, but Owen he's on his battery defending. Owen's got a lot of battery left, to be fair. J. Cole has a huge lot of battery, so J. Cole maybe he's in a position to maybe he has to get his move done quickly, I think, or he might run out of battery. As Owen Wyatt now, what's his corner exit like? I'm not sure what corner exit's like. Not too bad.
I can't lie, I was looking at Owen's length with it. Very brave on that inside curve through turn 4.
Yeah, he's driving very aggressively in these conditions. And I tell you, I wouldn't do that line. If I did that line, I'd be up into nearest barrier. Just incredible. All these guys can be so precise in these conditions. But J. Cole's virtually pushing the McLaren through these corners. He's just so desperate to get by, but Owen White seems to have really good traction out the corners. That's what's saving him, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, I think Owen Ware is going for the old strategy of slow in, fast out right now in these
Yeah.
corners, and it is paying out because it's helping them
Oh!
defenders. Oh, J. Cole, big
Jay
mistake.
caught the moment there, yeah, he snap oversteer and he's going to lose position unarmed, I believe. No, he just about keeps head there, but unarmed struggling. These guys are struggling. I think these guys are starting to reach the end of their tyre grip levels. And yeah, so they did pit 11 lap 11. So yeah, Jay Cole, that's kicking himself because he had the run there on Owen. Now Owen can breathe a sigh of relief as Jay Cole is going to pit. These tyres are gone.
Yeah, and I'm also following him into the pit lane. It's going to be interesting to see what tyres they opt for now. Will it be another set of wet tyres or will it be
I think it has to
intermediates?
be in us. I think
Oh,
it has to be
wets.
for wets. Yeah, for wets. I think it's still not dry enough for inters. So I wonder if one of these, I wonder if someone like Colin or will gamble and stay out a bit longer and maybe try for the inters. But yeah, it's still looking for wets to me. Our track's still soaking wet. So I think we may be full wets to the end here.
Yeah, potentially, if anyone's going to be able to make that switch on the second pit stop doing this, I think it'll be Timo. Obviously, having the freshest wet tyres of the field out of those that have made their first pit stops, everyone else making 2 pit stops. Delta Hunter coming going around on 19 lap old wet tyres. I mean, right now, Delta is just staying out as long as possible to hope for a safety car right now, isn't he?
He's trying. Yeah, he's just hoping for a Hail Mary strategy here. As I believe it's his capture leader. He
He's
is
behind him. He's already
about a
lapped
minute
down.
30. He's trying to stay in lead lap, obviously, and trying to stay in lead lap and hope for safety car. That's his plan here. But yeah, and pit late. And obviously, he's just outside the points at the moment. One more car drops out, he will score a point. But yeah, Delta Hunter has struggled this season, to be fair. I think he struggled in this tier. See, he was the reigning P2 tier champion last season, but this P1 tier has been a stretchy far from his own. White's in the pits now, and obviously now I think he'll be safe from the likes of J. Cole behind him. Brendan, interesting enough, has done his 2 stops. He's ahead of J. Cole now. I don't think Brendan will be able to get his tyres in now. I think he'll have to pit again. I think that'll be a bit of a stretch for him as Casper's behind in. Now Owen White's going to come out. He should come out comfortably ahead of J. Cole. Well, it'll be tight with Brendan though, as Brendan actually pits, so that's going to give him a bit of leeway as J. Cole. Now, how much does he gain on Owen White? That'd be a good strategy.
He's back almost within a second. And he is within a second.
He's gained a lot of time. Yeah, that's he gained all his time back there basically. So we're back to where we were before J. Cole's moment. So yeah, and J. Cole's got warmer tyres now. So Owen White for his next lap and a half, he'll have to just get his tyres up to temperature. But we've seen in the past few stints that Owen White is so fast in the first 4 or 5 laps of the stint. As J. Cole runs a little bit deep there, but it's not the worst thing doing on the wet though, because he can get a good X out. But yeah, I think as Lukey's overtaking Cowles off in 9th place.
Yeah, and Carlson now dropping behind Waitsy for P10 and 11 as well. Yeah, what it looks like to me is J. Cole has the pace to overtake Owen, but every time he gets close, I don't know, I think pressure may be beginning to get to him a little bit, and we're seeing small mistakes come through every time J. Cole has the opportunity.
Yeah, like that last lap around here, he just had that massive snap on his Owen White's now struggling a bit. The tyre temperature isn't quite there for him as J. Cole. Can he get a run through? He's seen J. Cole being this close so many times, but he just can't get through. I just think J. Cole's maybe running higher downforce setup, so he's just struggling for straight line speed. He's going to get a run here, but he's too far back. And if I was J. Cole, I'd probably say battery here. I don't think. Yeah, he's turned his battery off there. He's got to try and get good X out, turn 3 and turn 4 to go down that straight as Owen Wyatt. See, Owen Wyatt, he hasn't really had to defend. Really, he's just been. He hasn't had to defend the inside line. Yeah, the gap's been. Hasn't had to defend as such, and now they're coming to a lapped car, I believe. So this may be interesting. The lapped car of Delta Hunter gets out of the way nicely there. Owen White has a bit of a moment, but it's fine. J. Cole's no one to overtake, and now unarmed. How can unarmed get on the back of these guys? Unarmed struggled a bit in that last stint. I don't know, maybe because he was quick in the first stint, but the second stint he dropped off a bit.
Yeah, and I think the horrors of the second stint is following him into this stint because he's 3 seconds off the back of J. Cole. Now, it was a bit closer than that coming out of the pit lane, so maybe a bit of a mistake coming through from see, and there 3.3 is the gap between J. Cole and Unarmed. What Unarmed needs is these guys ahead to battle tooth and nail.
Yeah. J. Cole, so he's getting close to the back of that McLaren. You can see that rear wing, and it's obviously not a McLaren, but it's a McLaren thing livery. Yeah. J. Cole just seems to struggle in this last corner. He just doesn't seem to get the traction. That's what's costing him, I think. Oh, he has a moment there. How did he save that? Oh my god, I thought he was around there. That was a big moment.
I mean, if that was me, I'm definitely around there.
Yeah, I'm in that wall. I'm in that pit wall. And
I'm in Spain. I'm in Spain, mate.
yeah, exactly. That's incredible. As Casper just set the fast lap of the race, but yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier. That's what's happening. He gets the back of Owen. He has a moment. He just cannot. Once he gets close enough to overtake that McLaren, he just loses it for whatever reason. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. Also keeping an eye on that gap between Colin and Nicole. Solo gap is 10 seconds now. Lap 25 or 33. Remember, Colin does have a 6-second time penalty, so the gap realistically is 3.9 seconds.
And Nicolo set a fast lap of the race, so he's got some rapid pace. There's a Calzone Boatsy battle in minor points positions, but I'm interested to see what J. Cole can do. I don't know. J. Cole's experienced racer, but he just seems to be coming under pressure of the McLaren man. Now the thing is, they're both still, because they're not fighting as such, they're still pulling away from Unarmed a little bit, so they're still safe on the podium. But J. Cole I don't know. I think his setup is definitely geared to sector 2, but I think his differential must be different because this last corner, he just struggles so much in last corner for whatever reason.
Honestly, I think what J. Cole needs to do is in this middle sector now, just kind of start to make Owen thinking that, maybe just leave your nose in there just a little bit and that make Owen take a little bit of a wider line and, force Owen into a mistake. That's what he needs to do now.
Yeah, he needs to get the red arrows. It gets them red arrows in his. So when you see them red arrows in your perspective, your whole mindset changes, and you see that car in the mirror getting so much closer to you. You're like, it's so easy to block a breakup or something. If you're on the wrong line or take off the off line of being no grip at all. So there's Timo's yet to pit. Timo is near this, but I think he's quickest. I think he's still quicker than these guys, even though he's on all tires, because Owen White's having to look in his. Owen White's driving his mirrors at the moment. It looks like he's just got the car positioned perfectly, but J. Cole isn't really threatening. He's there, but he's not really there. Owen White's a bit of a moment there, but J. Cole was a bit too far back to take advantage.
Yeah, and we got the battle for P4 brewing as well as Casper's closing up to the back of C&M. Bit of a mistake there from Casper, so loses a second. So unfortunately, that's a bit of a commentator curse right there as I've gone on board with it. But yeah, Casper looks like he's got the pace on C&M here in the closing stages of this race.
Yeah. 4th place with decent result for Casper, decent recovery. I think you'd be happy with that. Obviously, I think the poem's out of reach for him. As Owen White's now put a gap to J. Cole. J. Cole sort of struggling with Casper. He's going to get a run here on Unarmed, and he's not using the battery though. He's saving it because he hasn't got much left. I think Casper, maybe fancying a move into the hairpin, which I think is probably better overtaking corner in the wet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's go. Obviously, coming out of the final corner, all depends on the run you get out of the final corner, really deciding whether you want to go for a move into turn 1. But yeah, as you mentioned, turn 5, the hairpin, definitely the key overtaking opportunity, because traction out of turn 4 can be a little bit dicey, especially in the wet conditions, so you can't take full advantage of someone making a small mistake there. But Casper not close enough to see an armed, and J. Cole still staying in behind Owen Wyatt, and Timo still in a world of his own right now.
Yeah, he can just put whatever he wants. Yeah, as you mentioned, traction turn 4, actually, funny enough, you mentioned that Casper had a massive snap oversteer moment into turn 4, which I think cost him any chance to overtake on Unarmed that lap. As Timo would just.
Oh, Casper's around! Casper loses it!
Oh, well, where is Colin in relation to this? Yeah, Colin gets ahead, and Nicolo will be maybe fancying that Casper now. As Casper obviously won't be on the hot tyres. He's got to be careful. He's got to make sure he gets them tyres down to temperature. So these next few laps, he'll be Well, now, he has a moment there. I think his tire's still overheating a little bit. Now, Nicolo may be fancying a run at.
J. Cole on Owen. Here we go as J. Cole moves to the inside line. As they run down in towards turn 1, will Owen be able to hang it all the way around the outside? A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the pair of them. Side by side into turn 1 they go, and it looks like J. Cole gets through.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact in turn 2. Oh, Owen Wyatt. Oh, that was a bit over-ambitious, I think, there. There was definitely contact into turn 1, turn 2, and there was definitely contact there. Owen Wyatt sent it up the inside, and there wasn't really room there, and he half spin there, and now he's lost time, and I believe that car that got ahead in there is probably a lap car, so yeah, Owen Wyatt was... he did sort of get squeezed off into turn 2, though, to be fair, by J. Cole. There wasn't much room.
I also going to put this out there. I think CNR made a mistake as well, because obviously he was around about 5 seconds off the back of Owen when Owen went for that slide, and of course CNR still 3 seconds behind. That would indicate that CNR had made a mistake as well. So CNR had an opportunity to get himself onto the podium by keeping it on track and keeping it all pointed in the right direction, but making a mistake himself and cost him a chance to get ahead of Owen Wyatt. But J. Cole now in a fantastic position right now to take home P2. Of course, we're still waiting for Timo to make his second pit stop, which I mean, even if he makes it now, I think he comes out ahead anyway.
Yeah, he comes out easily. He comes out about a good 10 seconds ahead, I think. It's Casper and Colin going side by side. Casper's getting the place back on Colin, and he gets the move done. So yeah, Casper's back in 5th place. Wasn't behind Colin that long, but any hope of 4th place is gone for him. As we know, 4 laps to go. As Colin is
win!
He's going again. 3-second penalty. Yeah, that's gonna. Unarmed. He's sort of within the penalty range, just about. This is going to be very tight for the final podium place. Owen Wyatt, unforced error there. He wasn't really racing anybody, and he got a 3-second penalty. What if the lap car maybe distracted him a bit there, made him go off track? Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, unforced error there by Owen. 3-second penalty.
It's just spiced up the final podium position, but also I want to bring your attention to the battle for P5, Casper and Colin. This is not good for Colin R. Mason to be involved in a battle with Casper. Nicolo Solo now within that 6-second window. Forza Brendan is only 3.5 seconds off the back of it. If Colin begins to battle with these guys around him, he could end up behind Forza Brendan here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. He's got a 6-second penalty, so it's not really worth fighting Nicolo, really, is it? Not really worth him fighting, because his battle's more lap time rather than position. And if I was Colin, I wouldn't fight Nicolo too much, because he's in the battle for 7th place with Brendan realistically. Look how much quicker Nicolo is. Nicolo's got so much more confidence than Colin. He's going to go for a move there, but going for a move there just leaves him vulnerable down the straight, so surely a bit of slipstream, he's got a lot of battery left. He's got 70% ERS left. He's only got a bit too much battery left, so surely Nicolo will get moved, and I don't think Colin will fight this overly too much.
I'll tell you what, this could be a good race, all things considered, for Nicolo, because he's only 1.9 off the back of Casper. He could possibly get a top 5 finish out of this. Maybe even close up the CNR, because CNR has been susceptible to a fair few mistakes, and those mistakes could come back to haunt him if he makes any more of them.
Yeah, he's within 8 seconds, and that's definitely a spin away. You know, if White makes a mistake, then I think it's a long shot to get a podium. Yeah, he's definitely on for top 5, and I think 4th place may be an opportunity there for him. That's good cover in the back of the grid in a full wet race, and obviously he had that moment spin early on when he was fighting Nick. So yeah, it's a decent cover for him and some good points, and that will help his cause and sort of solidify his 2nd place in the championship.
Timo finally decides to come into the pits at the end of this race for his 2nd pit stop, putting on a fresh set of wets. I have a feeling that he's just going to go for the fastest lap now.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely obliterate the fastest lap here. Fresh tyres, he's probably for full batteries. He's a full battery. He's going to absolutely obliterate this fast lap, which at the moment is a 29.6. I'm surprised his fast lap maybe is in the 27, because obviously Paul was in the 27, so he might get close to pole time here in the race.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, Nicole. So on the back of Casper as we begin lap 31 of 33. Nicole, so potential of getting P5. There's an opportunity depending on any mistakes up ahead that he could get a P4 finish, but essentially right now he's overtaken for the best that he can do with the pace that he has at the moment. But with mistakes up ahead, you never know what can happen. It's J. Cole, for the first time in a very long time, is actually, when he goes down the straight, he's going to be able to see Timo. So
Yeah.
I think J. Cole will be happy with that.
J. Cole's a decent race, I'd say. It's a good race for him. He's definitely been best of the rest behind Timo in race pace, and he kept him alive. First part of the race, I think he maybe was being a bit more conservative, but second part of the race, he's come alive, and obviously once he got by Owen, he's just pulled away massively.
So around the outside of Casper, which will turn to the inside. But turn 11, job done for Nicole. So
yeah, that was nice and easy for him there, getting moved on there. He's got so much more confidence than Casper. He's got such credible grip, and fifth place, yeah, good recovery from 10 points. That'll go nicely for his engine penalty. Obviously, majority jobs took it in Vegas. He decided to take it here, and I have to say, I'm quite impressed with his recovery drive. It's Casper, I think he's too far back for a potential repass, and Casper, yeah, he's not going to get repassed there. He's struggling. I think Casper will be happy with sixth place. I think that'd be a good result for him. As I was looking at this battle for third place between Unarmed and Owen Wyatt. Unarmed at the moment is within third place by 2.5 seconds, but I've been keeping an eye on this gap for the past few laps, and it was 3 seconds. Now it's 2.4, 2.5. So Owen Wyatt needs to find a little bit more pace if he can.
Yeah, looks like CNR now getting himself a little bit more composed in the final stages of this race, and it could lead him to getting that podium. Coming on board with a battle between Waitsy and Lukey for the final position inside the top 10. Both these drivers have 3-second time penalties to their name, as Waitsy is closing in, but not enough to go for a move. But potentially a good run out of turn 4 could leave an opportunity in towards turn number 5.
Yeah, Waits got Lukey's off again. Sure, that's another one there for Lukey. Lukey's got 6 seconds of penalties, and Waits got 3. So, but just of Calzo ahead's got 6 seconds. So I wonder if the Ferrari guy, Lukey made to let his teammate by. I may have run at Calzo, but I think they're just battling on. His team was 28.7. That is quite a quick lap in the race. We consider the pole was a 27, so yeah, Timo definitely has.
I would like to apologise. I did say that J. Cole would be able to see Timo down the street, and I didn't expect Timo to pull out that kind of gap that quickly.
No. He saw him for a brief moment. It's final lap anyway, but yeah, I think J. Cole will be happy how he's done. We've got Axe and Delta going side by side. The two mates, and Axe gets moved in. Delta himself pitted thankfully seconds off. But yeah, Timo.
In front of Anando, this could be a little bit off-putting for CNM here. And he could run out that 3-second window.
Yeah, he's within it just, but the Alpha, he's got out of the way. Yeah, he's got out of the way nicely there. But what's the gap? It's coming up, that gap. I have to say, it's going to be very. But I think he should be okay now. I don't think the other guy will distract him. I think unless Owen Wyatt was pushing. Owen Wyatt's pushing this lap. The gap is. He's got 40% battery, so Owen Wyatt was surely just deployed the battery coming down the pit straight. As speaking of the pit straight, Timo is approaching the pit straight now.
Yeah, coming through the final sector for the final time. An absolute impervious drive from Timo here, and extending his lead in the championship even further. Can anyone stop him? The bookies are saying no, but across the line will come Timo in a showboating fashion there, reversing across the line, and obviously Timo, absolutely incredible drive from him. J. Cole will come through to take home second place, but look at this gap, it's 3 seconds.
It's going to be tight.
Owen Wyatt, is he going to get it?
Oh, he's got it, I think.
He's got it, yeah, Owen Wyatt.
Got it. Yeah, he got it. He had a great last corner. Owen nailed the last corner. That caught in the podium position. Nicolo 5th. Good recovery from him. As we got Casper, we got Brendan and Colin. It's going to be tight. Yeah, it's going to be tight between these two.
Oh, Colin crosses the line, but will Forza win again? Yes, he does. Forza Brendan's good again.
Wow. to effectively overtake last corner there. Because you had Owen White effectively overtake unarmed last corner, and we had Forsey Brennan overtake Colin. Colin would be gutted. He'd be gutted if 8th place. It just shows you how costly these penalties are. You can lose a lot of places. As Calso in 9th place, a long way back, but a decent cover drive from him there. I think he'd be happy with that. Some quality points, his first points of the season. And then got 2 Ferrari drivers closer together, Luke in Waitsy, Axelock and Delta Hunter. They both were lapped, so they have finished the race already.
My. What a very bit of late drama there in our race. Forsey Brennan actually getting the jump on Colin with the time penalties, but unfortunately for Cian, it went the opposite way for him, trying to get the jump on Owen Wyatt. But ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic race, very tricky conditions, and a fair few mistakes out there on track. But the podium is that right there of Timo, J. Cole, and Owen Wyatt. And honestly, that man Timo, absolute incredible drive. No challenges for the majority of the race. I mean, Owen Wyatt put up a fight in the opening. I want to say the opening 5 laps, and then after the first pit stop, he was closer for 3 laps. But since then, Timo had no one around him.
Yeah, no, it's just a stroll in the park for him. It's just because he pitted he had so much more pace than because he pitted to like the very front of the lap. He could have moved that race by another 10 seconds on the he wanted to. And yeah, he's just toying with the field there. It's sort of a battle for second place in there, which J. Cole got. So he got as a race order room for the race order for you. In first place, you have Timo, another race in for him. J. Cole in second, a pretty good drive for him there. Owen Wyatt third, another podium for him, who just got it from C unarmed on the final corner. Nicola in fifth, good drive there for him with his entry penalty. Casper in sixth, Forsey Brennan in seventh, ruining that decision starting the inters. Colin in eighth, Calzo in ninth, Waitsy in 10th, Lukey 11th, Axelock in 12th gets a final point, Delta Hunter is out in 13th. Then we have Larkin, Tony, Posh Evans, and Nick, who all retired from the race. Obviously, Nick had that unfortunate disqualification of Posh Evans, yet again fails to score.
Yeah, once again, it does go that way for Posh Evans, and actually, it's been a season of horrors for the Alfa Romeo driver. I mean, I can't lie, I don't see how anyone stops Timo now for the rest of the season, because he has just been different gravy since coming into the season.
No, it's just, yeah, it's incredible. Obviously now he's extended that championship lead by another 11 points, because obviously he got the fast lap as well, so that lead is now, yeah, it's just going to be, he needs a run, the other driver needs a run of DNFs for that to happen, which I don't see happening. He's just, as you say, he's won the last 5 races, and the other 2 finished third. He missed the first race of the season. It doesn't matter, because he seems to win all the time. It's very much like he's a Dutch driver, which is like a Verstappen style performance this season. As now we now have to nominate our driver of the days. Who do you fancy going for first?
Well, I don't want to be boring and say Timo. Even though Timo absolutely impervious driver at the front, I want to be a little bit spicy. I'm going to go with Nicola Solo, because he has come from the back to finish P5. So that is my driver of the day nomination, and the question I will put forward to Nicola: an absolutely incredible comeback drive through the field to get yourself that P5. How frustrating was it early on in the first stint when you were battling tooth and nail with Nick Reisigen? And are you looking forward to more battles with Nick in the future?
Yes, that is a very good question. I'm looking forward to his answer to that. And yeah, I am going to be boring, I'm afraid, but I have to go for Timo. It's just an imperious drive. Obviously, he did 1 lap in qualifying, and in the race, he was just insane how quick he was. It's just, I'm going to ask him, Timo, well done, what an impressive drive. How are you so quick in the wet? What is your secret, and how much more pace do you have? Because I'm intrigued. I feel like you could have gone a lot quicker if you wanted to.
Absolutely, and of course, be an interesting one as well. Obviously, before we wrap things up here tonight, once again, massive shout out to our sponsors at Next Level Racing, providing some fantastic prices for all the drivers out there, to Aztec, as well as Pure Sim Gear, and of course the Mystery Shirt Box, and of course to our partners at Vespa Twin, ERT, and of course Sim Grid. So next week, obviously, we should have both Jess and Steve back in the comments box here in P1 next week. But of course, next week we will be going to Spa-Francorchamps, so the Belgian Grand Prix, an absolutely incredible racing circuit, and definitely one to keep an eye out for. What do you reckon, Jimmy?
Yeah, it should be a good one. Unfortunately, I'm away on holiday, so I'll miss it, which is a shame because I love driving that track. So, and I need a race after today or me. But yeah, I enjoyed that track. Obviously, it's a very much a old school track with El Rouge and Radioni. You got them epic Pouon corner and Blanchimont. You got all these epic corners, and obviously we do see a lot of rain there. And yeah, I'm just gutted and missing it. I love racing it, and I love watching races there. I'll definitely catch up with it when I'm back all day. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good race, these guys. And can anyone get close to Timo next week? That's my question. Can anyone challenge him?
Well, that's going to be the question. All answers will come next week when we go to round number 8 at Belgium. Until then, guys, I have been Ivor Bryn Mike. He has been Jamie Met, and we shall catch you. I'll catch you next week back in P2. Jess and Steve will be back here in P1, and Jamie will catch you on track probably for Spain at round number 9 next. But until then, guys, is goodbye and good night from the PRS. Goodbye.
Good night.